Let's work on the first section where the character is grabbing the bar. So this section is going to be from frames 1 to 23. And if we go to frame 1 and hit play from here, notice how the character is falling way too slow. We need to show weight. We need to speed that up a little bit more. But before that, let's go to frame 1 and scrub right past and notice how the wrists are snapping pretty weird. And you may be wondering why that's happening. Well, that's because of the bar lock channel on our arm IK controls. That needs to be adjusted. So what we'll do is we'll select our right and left arm IK controls, and we'll go to frame 123 and go to the bar lock channel and just put in a value of 0 for the bar lock channel there. So it won't be activated until after that when the character is pulling up here. And if we notice, let's go to frame 1 and scrub past. That fixes the wrist snap problem, but we still are getting some irregular bending in the wrist that needs to be fixed, and we'll get to that. But before we do, let's work on adjusting the timing of when the character now falls to grab onto the barbell. And at this time, I do want to introduce using rhythm to help figure out the timing and spacing of certain actions. And that's like a little hum or a sound effect in your mind or with your mouth. But at about 95% of the time when I'm trying to figure out how to animate a certain action, I'll get rhythm involved. And you don't want to make it too loud where everyone in the building knows you're trying to figure out the timing of a certain movement. Again, a small hum would suffice. But when trying to figure out how a certain rhythm would be, you want to go ahead and take a look at live reference, either videotape yourself or a friend acting out a certain part of your animation that you want to work on, or find some other footage. But that's how you're going to get the beat of the animation. So in this case, if we were to put a rhythm to this part, starting from frame 1 and hit play to 23, it'd be more of a zoom, boom. Okay, so that's happening too slow. When we'd want more of a zoom, boom, we'd want that sped up a little bit. So let's work on that. What we'll do is first turn off our character set. We can do that down here. Okay, that's a faster way to get to our character sets. So we'll go ahead and turn it off, and we'll go ahead and start selecting only the curves that we want to start adjusting right now. So we'll isolate our selection just so we don't move any other keys that we don't want moved. So we have the center of gravity, the wrist controls, we have our shoulder controls there, the scapula controls, and we also will get our elbows and our arm IK controls as well. And let's go ahead and speed up the timing. So let's take this key on frame 23 and let's move it up some, probably to about frame 17. Now let's see how our movement's looking now. If we go ahead and hit play, okay, the timing there is much better. Now we're getting a zoom, boom. Okay, so that's fixed for now at least. And another thing we need to notice is that as the character's coming down, notice how everything's falling at a same consistent rate. The hands are falling onto the bar at the same time, and at the same time the body's coming down. And we don't want that. We want more of a natural offset, where let's say the right hand will come down and then the left and then the body afterwards. That would not only add to the believability of the animation, but the appeal factor of it too. So let's work on adjusting that. Again, we'll have the right hand come down first, and then the left hand, and then the body afterwards. So what we'll do is we'll select the right wrist control, and we'll get the right shoulder in there too. And let's get the right arm IK control and the elbow control, and we'll take this key on frame 17 and let's move it up some to frame 11. So now watch what adjustment is made if we hit play. Notice how the movement's looking better already. So we have the right arm coming down first, and then the left hand, or then the body and the left hand. We'll get to that left hand a little bit later. But for now, if we hit play, the movement's looking much better now. And also notice that we're also removing the anticipation of the arm landing onto the bar, which is actually what we want to happen. We want that arm straightened out all the way to the time of impact, and then we want the bend to happen in the arm. Whereas with this left arm, notice how there is anticipation in it, it's bent all the way to where it comes time for it to grab a hold of the bar, and that's what we don't want to happen. So this also applies to falling characters with their legs. So if you have the character falling, you want your legs straightened out all the way until the time of impact. Okay, so that's just FYI. Now what we need to do is do a few more adjustments to our arm arcade control as well as our wrist control. We definitely need to fix that wrist. So let's start with the right arm arcade control, and we'll go to frame 8 and we'll adjust it some so that it's pointing more to where it's going to land. So we have a nice smooth fall. Okay, and the direction is now fixed. Once we've done that, maybe we can even translate it a little bit more forward and down some. We also want that, remember, the arm to stay locked. Okay, so that's better. And remember to check the animation in all views. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. Okay, so that's coming along. Now we can start working on the wrist. And for the wrist, again, we'll go to frame 8 and let's rotate it so that it's more positioned like that. And we'll scrub past. And notice how it's still bending pretty weird on frame 10. So we do need to fix that. And sometimes we do need to animate certain parts of our animation frame by frame to get the look that we're going for. We don't want to always rely on the computers interpolating for us. So for in this case, we've got to animate on frame 10. So we'll go to frame 10 and we'll just again adjust the wrist. And now when we scrub through, notice the movement's much better now for the character grabs hold of the bar. Okay, so again we'll go back to frame 1 and just hit play to see how our movement's looking now with the adjustments we've made, and notice that right arm is looking much better. So we've got some more adjustments to do, but again we're making great progress, and that completes this lesson. In the next lesson we'll continue finalizing this first section.